Welcome to another edition SmarkChatYouTube.com. I hope all is well. And we're going to do another baseball video. Now, honestly, if I could toot my own horn, I am better than ESPN, MLB Network. I mean, with all due respect, I mean, just phenomenal. I kid. I can't compare, but one could dream, right? Jason Heyward signed for 8 years, $184 million with the Chicago Cubs. And I just want to give you some of my thoughts on this deal. As good of a team as the Cubs are, this is a bad signing. Yes, he essentially feels a need for center field, as he could just make the shift from left field. But essentially paying what's most likely going to be some insane contract in the neighborhood, obviously of 8 to 9 million, in the neighborhood of 8 to 9 years, for what, $184 million for a player that's pretty much all glove. Don't get me wrong, Heyward is solid, but you don't fork over that type of cash for a solid player in which he only produces average production at the plate. I think Heyward is a frustrating player. Ask the Braves fans. You just kept waiting for him to break out. Too many ground outs, injury prone very early on, slow starter. Yes, amazing defense. If you're the Cubs, you hope that he breaks out and becomes the monster that he was predicted to be. And now he's obviously being paid that. Is he overrated? I think he's a little bit overrated. Compare his 2016 number with Piscotty over a full year. As a lifelong, if you're a lifelong St. Louis fan, I think you might think that your team is better off without him. I don't know. Don't kid yourself. 180 million, 184 is way too much for a guy who's a defensive right fielder and an average hitter. He's getting paid like Trout to essentially hit less than Neil Walker. Listen, he isn't a 20 home run hitter. He doesn't hit better than 280. He has never had more than 80 RBIs in a season. Me personally, I just don't understand the hoopla with this guy. But you got to admit what an off-season the Cubs are having. If this is not the team to beat, at least on paper, based on all the moves that they made, they're one of the teams to beat. So interesting to see what will happen, going forward. I think when you look at Epstein, he's really great at developing home talent. But when he was with the Red Sox, he always sucked at signing players for big money, extremely long-term deal. Will Heyward be the equivalent of what J.D. Drew was to Boston fans? Interesting to see what happens going forward. Heyward signed by the Cubs, 8 years, $184 million. Congratulations, Mr. Heyward.